welcome back. So have you ever felt like your brain is just like overloaded?
Oh, yeah.
Like too many tabs open? Too
Absolutely.
many apps running and you just need to like force quit a few
For
things?
sure.
Well, that's what we're diving into today, journaling. And we've got a podcast episode and a transcript to help us unpack this.
Okay, cool.
Now, I'll admit, when I first thought about journaling, I thought it was, just for teenagers
Yeah.
or like super organized people, like bullet journal people.
Right.
But the more I learn about it, the more I'm realizing that it can be for anyone
Mm-hmm.
who wants a clearer headspace.
It's really true. It's way more common than people think. I think our brains get so bombarded with information
Oh, yeah.
that it's really helpful to have a way to process it all.
Right. Because if we don't, it just gets messy.
Totally.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
What is journaling really?
Mm.
Like, what do you actually do when you journal?
So, at its very basic level, journaling is just recording your thoughts, your experiences, and reflections. And it's often done daily.
Okay.
But there's no right or wrong way to do it.
So it's kind of like just a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having a conversation with yourself, but on paper.
Okay. So I already do that in my head all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued. So the source that we were looking at keeps mentioning this idea of mental clarity.
Yes.
How does writing stuff down actually help with that?
So imagine that your mind is like a desk,
Okay.
and it's just piled high with papers and to-do lists and random thoughts.
Oh, yeah. I know that desk.
Journaling is like taking all of that clutter and organizing it and putting it into a system where you can actually see what's important.
Okay. So you're saying instead of having it all jumbled up in your brain,
Exactly.
you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that I'm a visual person, so that works for me.
Yeah.
But do you have like a real life example
Yes,
where this
sir.
has actually helped?
Yeah, so I remember one time I was totally overwhelmed with this work project,
Oh, yeah.
and I had deadlines and tons of tasks, and I just felt completely stuck.
I've been there.
So I decided to do a brain dump in my journal.
A brain dump.
Yeah, basically just write down every single thing that was in my head.
So you just like word vomited onto the page.
Pretty much. And you know what? It actually really helped.
Really?
Because once I saw everything written down, it didn't seem so scary anymore.
Hmm.
I could break it down into smaller steps, prioritize things, and then actually start making progress.
That makes a lot of sense because then instead of being this like big scary monster in your head,
Right.
it's like pinned down, you can look at it. So
Exactly.
you can deal with it.
You got it.
So I'm sensing that journaling isn't just for like those super stressful moments though.
Oh, no, not at all.
Our source also talks about journaling for decision making,
Yes.
which I find fascinating.
It's a great tool for that.
How does that work?
So let's say you're facing a tough decision. Journaling can help you weigh the pros and cons, not just logically, but also emotionally.
Okay.
It's like having a conversation with a more rational version of yourself. You might uncover hidden biases or feelings that you weren't even aware of.
Whoa. Unconscious bias. Okay. Now that's getting deep. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
This is all making a lot of sense. But I'll be honest, I'm still the person who sits down with a blank page
Yeah.
and is like, what do I write?
I get that.
So what's your advice for someone like me who's is totally new to this?
I would say start small.
Okay.
You don't have to write a novel. Even just 5 minutes of jotting down whatever comes to mind is a great start.
Okay.
It could be a recap of your day, a list of things you're grateful for. Just let your thoughts flow without any pressure or judgment.
No pressure.
Oh.
I like that. Now, the source mentioned something called gratitude journaling, which
Ah.
seems pretty self-explanatory. But what's the big deal about listing what you're thankful for?
Well, gratitude journaling is actually more than just a feel-good exercise.
Oh, yeah?
When you regularly focus on the positive, even small things, it can actually rewire your brain to be more optimistic.
Really?
Yeah, it helps shift your perspective, especially when life gets tough.
So it's like training your brain to see the good instead of getting stuck in the negative.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see how that would be super helpful. And speaking of helpful nudges, what about these journal prompts
Oh, yeah, journal prompts.
that the source keeps mentioning?
They can be really great. Basically, they're just starting points for your writing.
Okay.
They give you a specific question or topic to think about,
Okay.
which can be super helpful when you're feeling stuck.
Oh, so instead of staring at that blank page,
Yes.
you've got something to kind of kickstart your thinking.
Exactly. It's like a thought starter.
I like that. What kind of prompts we're talking about here?
Oh, there's so many possibilities. You could focus on a goal that you have.
Okay.
You could analyze a recent challenge. You could describe your dream life. You could even just ask yourself, what would I tell my younger self?
Wow. Okay. I am officially intrigued. And now I'm also realizing there's a whole world of journaling styles out there.
There really is.
Like the source mentioned a few, and I'm dying to know more. So give us the rundown on some of the most popular types.
All right, so first up for all the organization lovers out there,
Yes.
we have bullet journaling,
Bullet journaling.
which is all about using bullet points, symbols, layouts.
Okay.
It's perfect for tracking habits, tasks, moods, basically anything you want to keep tabs on.
I love a good list. And I love colorful pens. So this is speaking to me.
Perfect.
What else is there?
Then there's stream of consciousness journaling,
Okay.
which is pure, unfiltered writing. No grammar police, no pressure to make sense. Just let your thoughts flow onto the page.
That sounds very freeing.
It is.
Okay, I like that.
It's great for processing emotions and unleashing creativity.
And I think there was one more that the source mentioned.
Yes.
Reflective journaling.
Reflective journaling, exactly.
Yeah.
So this one's all about looking back on your day or your week,
Okay.
noticing patterns, appreciating the wins, identifying areas for growth. It's like having a built-in personal development coach.
Okay, so we've got bullet journaling for the organizers, stream of consciousness for the free spirits, and reflective journaling for those of us who like to analyze and grow.
Exactly.
It's amazing how one simple practice can have so many variations.
It really is.
And you know what? It's striking me that journaling isn't just about like decluttering your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about creativity
Yeah.
and emotional well-being.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. I think journaling can be an incredible creative spark when you give yourself permission to write without judgment. All sorts of ideas and insights can come out.
So it's like giving your inner artist a microphone.
Exactly. And on the emotional side, it's a safe, non-judgmental space to explore your feelings and work through challenges.
It's like having your own personal therapist that
Yes.
you don't have to schedule an appointment with.
Exactly. And the beauty is you can be totally honest with yourself
Right.
in a way that you might not be able to be with other people.
Okay, so, all this talk about journaling is making me wonder, how long has this practice been around?
That's a great question.
Like, did cave people keep journals?
Well, I don't know about cave paintings as journals, but the practice has been around for centuries,
Okay.
spanning different cultures and time periods. I think it really speaks to that universal human need to express ourselves, reflect, make sense of the world.
That makes sense. And speaking of history, our source mentioned that the earliest known journal dates back to 10th century Japan.
Wow.
It was called the Pillow Book. And it was written by a woman named Sei Shunagon.
That's fascinating.
So from ancient scrolls to modern apps,
Right.
the tools might change, but the urge to journal, it persists.
It does.
And I think that's a great reminder that journaling is truly personal.
Mm,
So what matters is finding what works for you.
absolutely.
Whether that's a simple notebook,
Yeah.
a fancy leather-bound journal,
Yeah.
a digital app, it's all good.
It's all good.
I love that. It's not about being perfect or doing it right. It's about finding what feels good and fits your life.
Exactly. And, even if you're not sure where to begin, just the act of picking up a pen and paper can be a really powerful first step.
It really is about honoring your own unique voice and giving yourself the space to explore.
Absolutely. And that's something we often forget in our busy lives.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the doing
Mm-hmm.
and forget about the being,
Right.
But let's shift gears for a second.
Okay.
The source we're looking at mentions some pretty fascinating benefits of journaling beyond just mental clarity.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, this idea of journaling for creativity. I'll be honest, that one's a bit of a head scratcher for me.
Yeah.
How does writing about your day help you to be more creative?
Well, it's not so much about writing about your day as it is about unlocking those hidden pathways in your brain.
Okay.
Think of it like this. When you journal, you're essentially giving your subconscious mind a chance to speak. All those ideas, dreams, inspirations that are swirling around beneath the surface can finally come out.
Oh, so it's like journaling gives your inner artist a microphone.
Exactly. And that's why so many artists and writers swear by journaling. It's a way to tap into that wellspring of creativity that we all have within us.
I'm starting to see how powerful this can be. It's not just about, organizing your to-do list
Right.
or venting about your day. It's about connecting with a deeper part of yourself.
Precisely. And that connection is where the real magic happens.
Okay, I'm sold on the creativity front,
Mm-hmm.
but the source also touches on journaling for emotional well-being.
Yes.
Now, that one makes more sense to me intuitively, but how does it actually work?
It's more nuanced than just venting.
Okay.
Although venting certainly has its place. Journaling for emotional well-being is about processing your feelings, understanding their root causes,
Okay.
and ultimately developing healthier coping mechanisms.
So it's like journaling helps you to become more emotionally intelligent.
That's a great way to put it. By writing about our emotions, we can start to identify patterns, recognize triggers, and ultimately develop a more compassionate relationship with ourselves.
You know, it's interesting because I used to think therapy was the only way to achieve that kind of self-awareness.
hmm
But it sounds like journaling can be a really powerful tool in that journey as well.
It can be incredibly empowering to realize that you have the tools within yourself to navigate your emotions. And while therapy is certainly valuable, journaling offers a level of accessibility and privacy that can be very appealing.
Speaking of accessibility,
Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge that, not everyone enjoys writing
Right.
or even feels comfortable putting their thoughts on paper.
Sure.
So are there any alternatives for those who might find traditional journaling a bit daunting?
Absolutely. Journaling is a flexible practice, and there are countless ways to adapt it to your individual preferences.
Okay.
For instance, if you're more visually inclined, you could try art journaling.
Art journaling.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's essentially using a combination of visual art and writing to express yourself.
Okay.
You might use paint, collage, drawing, any other medium that resonates with you to create a visual representation of your thoughts and emotions.
So it's like a more creative and expressive form of journaling.
Exactly.
I could see how that would be really appealing for those who don't feel as comfortable with words.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what works best for you and allowing yourself to explore different avenues of self-expression.
This has been so insightful. But before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
This whole historical aspect of journaling.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating to me that this practice has been around for centuries across different cultures.
It is.
So what can we learn from that?
I think it speaks to the universality of the human experience. Regardless of time period or cultural background, we all have an innate desire to understand ourselves and the world around us.
Okay.
And journaling in its various forms has provided a powerful outlet for that exploration for generations.
It's like this thread that connects us through time, isn't it?
It is this shared human need to reflect, to process, to make sense of it all.
Exactly. And it reminds us that even though the world may seem increasingly chaotic and disconnected, we're not alone in our search for meaning and clarity.
We're not.
Okay, so as we wind down our deep dive into journaling, let's recap what we've uncovered for our listener. We've talked about journaling as a tool for mental clarity, decision-making, creativity, and emotional well-being.
Yes.
We've explored different types of journaling, from bullet journaling to stream of consciousness and even art journaling.
We have.
And we've learned that this practice is not some new age fad,
Right.
but a timeless tradition that connects us to generations past.
It's true.
And perhaps most importantly, we've emphasized that journaling is a deeply personal practice.
Absolutely. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
It's all about finding what resonates with you, what helps you unlock your inner voice, and what allows you to cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself.
Beautifully said.
And now, as our listener is likely brimming with ideas and inspiration, I want to leave them with a little challenge.
Our challenge. I like
Yeah.
it. What do you have in mind?
So I want you to think about what area of your life could benefit the most from a little journaling magic. Is it mental clarity? Is it creativity? Is it emotional well-being? Maybe it's all of the above. But once you've kind of identified that area, I challenge you to take just one small step today to start your journaling journey.
Okay.
It could be as simple as buying a new notebook, downloading a journaling app, or even just writing down 3 things you're grateful for before bed.
That's a great challenge, and I would add that it's important to be patient with yourself. Journaling is a practice,
Right.
and like any practice, it takes time to develop, so don't get discouraged if you miss a day. Or if your entries feel a little awkward at first, just keep showing up, keep exploring, and keep trusting the process.
I love that, trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, journaling is about the journey,
Mm-hmm.
not the destination.
It is.
It's about giving yourself that space to explore, to discover,
Mm-hmm.
and to connect with your inner voice.
And who knows what you might find along the way.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's a journey of self-discovery that unfolds one page at a time. And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of journaling. Until next time, happy writing.